I wanted to take a moment here to discuss something that happened during the presidential debates the other night that was gun-related. And no, it's not the assault weapons ban. Now, I did, of course, see the part about the assault weapons ban, and I've already done a video on that. But, maybe it's because I'm OCD, but, OCD people tend to pay attention to the details, and there was one thing he said that really bothered me more than the assault weapons ban thing. The assault weapons ban thing didn't bother me all that much because I don't think it's even a possibility right now. I don't think you'd ever get Congress to go along with it. People worry about executive order, but executive order is very limited in what it can affect. Even when Bill Clinton did his, he only could affect imports. He had to rely on Congress to pass the actual ban. So a lot of people have that misconception that the entire assault weapons ban under Clinton was done by executive order. No, only a very tiny little aspect of it was able to be done by executive powers. The rest was passed by Congress, and he signed it. So the one thing that he said that bothered me more than the assault weapons ban, that not bothered me because I don't think it's a possibility. I think that was just pandering to the left side. Because you got to remember, in this election, the far right and the far left have been kind of setting things out because they don't like either candidate. The far lefties don't like Obama. The far righties don't like Romney. So right now, the candidates have kind of given up on the middle because they know people in the middle have already decided who they're going to vote for. So now they're trying to mobilize the extremes of both parties. So the whole assault weapons ban thing didn't bother me. But that being said, one thing he did say is, after he said that about the assault weapons ban, he said, oh, and I realize, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, but he realizes assault weapon bans aren't that big of an issue. It's more cheap guns that are causing all the problems. Now, there's different ways you can take that. You could take it at the best case scenario where he's just admitting, okay, I'm just talking about assault weapons ban, even though it's really not a big issue because assault weapons aren't dangerous. There hasn't been a lot of bayonettings in my neighborhood. So, assault weapon ban really aren't a big problem. There haven't been a lot of people being gunned down by automatic weapons. And that's the case everywhere. It's really not a big problem. But at best case scenario, like I say, he's just admitting that. At worst case scenario, and this is kind of the way I took it, and don't think that I am fear-mongering or that I'm trying to say this is going to happen or that this is even a likelihood. I'm just saying it's a possibility that people should keep their minds open to. He said that cheap guns are the problem. Now, is he meaning cheap guns? Most crimes are committed with, like Ravens or Jennings or anything like that? Or was it a little bit of a slip and he's bringing out something that they've been talking about in the back, between themselves about how the problem with handguns is they're affordable. And the fact that they're cheap and people can afford them is the problem. So maybe by cheap guns, he means affordable guns are causing all the problems. So, if that's the case, well, then you have to be careful because maybe they'll go after, instead of trying to ban guns, because they can't ban guns, maybe they'll just try to make them unaffordable. Maybe they'll slap sin taxes on them, or import taxes on imports, or special sales taxes, or luxury taxes, or something on them, or even put them on the list for the tax stamps. If they could drive up the price of guns where the average person couldn't afford one, or maybe even the middle class person couldn't afford one, and let's face it, they're close to that now. I mean, how many people can shell out $600 to $1,500 for a gun nowadays and still be able to make ends meet? It's fewer and fewer people every day. So, that's my big fear, that they're saying, well, the biggest problem with guns is that everybody can afford one. And so we need to make them more expensive so that only the right people can afford a gun. And that bothers me more than any thought of trying to pass an assault weapons ban. That's direct, and that's straightforward, and that's easy to fight. But that whole mentality of that, well, maybe we could just push guns to the point where they're only affordable by people that we consider worthy of being able to afford them. Like an elitist group of people who can only own guns now. So, like I say, I know that's something. I'm not saying that that's likely or that that's what they're planning or anything like that. I'm just stating that that's one of the things I took as a possibility from what they said. Now, you can call me crazy. You can call me whatever you want. I don't care. I'm used to it. But it's just something that I think people should keep their eyes open for.